Okay, so I've been learning Spanish for the past 7 months, but unfortunately I have the attention span of a goldfish. Books are boring and reading is for nerds, so I've looked towards the great attention drain of the modern age. Unfortunately, Subway Surfers doesn't have a lot of text, so by recommendation of Yoruru 2, I'll be playing Blasphemous. Blasphemous, the 2019 Metroidvania, was developed by The Game Kitchen, which is based in Spain, so I will be fully immersed in Spanish. Last time, I played a game only with Spanish subtitles, but here I'll have to both hear and read the language. Before we get started, I wanted to say that because of the nature of this video, I've decided to test myself by making captions for this video in both English and Spanish. So apologies in advance if the Spanish captions are way off. Going forward, I may get a professional. I also wanted to get an idea of my Spanish level so you can see just how lost I really am. This test looks good enough, and that's pretty embarrassing. According to this, I'm pre-intermediate 2, or A2, which is about right. I'd say I'm B1 if the Spanish isn't Spain Spanish. Where's this game from again? Fuck. Okay, so there are a lot of differences, mainly in accents, but the big one is vosotros, which I kind of messed up a lot, but here's a basic crash course. In Spanish, Latin Spanish is split into 5 forms. There's more with the past and future as well as subjective, but to keep it simple, we'll say 5. First person, yo, second person, tú, third person, él or ella, third person plural, which is nosotros, and third person plural, ellos or ellas. When you look at it this way, there's a very obvious gap. Second person plural. That's vosotros. It can be used for ustedes or vosotros, the latter being informal and the other being formal, I think. I might have those two reversed. Like I said, not good with vosotros. But essentially, vosotros, in my mind, is Spanish y'all, and you can't convince me otherwise. What's weird is that this game is definitely using vosotros to refer to you as one guy.
No toméis como ofensa el no miraros al rostro, pues siempre estamos inclinados para no desviar nuestros ojos del camino.
So, hold up.
Es esa nuestra antigua regla.
No tomías is vosotros, but I thought vosotros was plural. Like, he's just talking to me.
Speaking of you, you play as penitente, a mute knight of sorts whose name means someone who repents from sin. Okay. This is something Spanish does really well, not just as a linguistic thing, but as a cultural thing, using adjectives or epithets as a name. In English, the main character is called the penitent one, which is fine, but in my opinion doesn't roll off the tongue as well as penitente. It's not just you. Many characters are just called by adjectives. Penitente, doloroso, el milagro, and that's more of a noun. Just goes to show you that this game was made for Spanish. This naming, while cool, was confusing at times because they're adjectives and not proper names. Personally, I'm not good with names at all, and it is kind of embarrassing how long it took me to realize that they were talking about me.
I'm trying to understand what she's saying. Okay. She does heal. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, bruh. Penitente, penitente. Does that mean stop? Does that mean like hold still? I don't think so. I definitely think it's one of the reflexive verbs. De means you. Penite. So like what this bitch yapping? But when I did figure it out, not only did things become clearer, but I had learned something, which is always a good feeling. Oh wait, she's just saying my name. Yeah, she's just saying the name. That's just what they call us. Oh. I'm dumb. As I said, I suck with names, and throughout my whole playthrough I had to make up names for characters because I have a hard time remembering them.
Green guy, caged ghost, chest face. I mean, what else am I supposed to call him? He has a chest on his face. The character design is truly inspiring, and with amazing pixel art, this game is a delight to see. God, this game is beautiful. God, this game is beautiful. And I think this game has excellent visual storytelling. My Spanish isn't that good to fully understand the plot, but I can get the feeling, and this game's imagery really helps invoke that feeling. I'll get into the story later, with no spoilers for now, but while I was never bored with this game's story, I was several times completely confused.
Oh, okay. Okay. Alright. Let me just say that, like, this game, it's hard enough to follow because I'm not super fluent in Spanish, and it's not really trying to, like, make it easy for me to follow. Fine, whatever. But, like, I'm pretty sure if this was in English, I would not know what the fuck is happening. En cualquier lugar por Carlo del Doloroso. Doloroso is like pain or something? God, dude, stop touching it, man.
This game loves to be archaic, almost to the point where it feels like they are trying to confuse you. For example, you'll walk past a fountain that you've walked past before, and suddenly you can interact with it and go into a new dimension where there's no map and everything is white, and you meet a statue that's like a god or something, and people wanted saltere? Saltre? What is saltre? Oh, it's saltpeter. What is saltpeter? Oh, it's potassium nitrate. Of course. How could I be so foolish?
Here's my question. I wonder if, like, this game is even to, like, modern Spanish speakers, does this game, like, read weird? Because I wonder if it's doing what we would do in English, where it's like we would try to sound old. We would speak what's known as, like, the King's English, which is, like, fancy and elegant and old, and it doesn't, like, no one talks like that nowadays. So I wonder if this game's doing the same shit because it's set in the past or set in, like, a specific era. So, like, everything from the way it's written to the characters who speak and yada yada are speaking, like, a weird form of Spanish. They're speaking, like, the King's version of Spanish, like an old medieval style that even in modern times would be considered, like, strange. This game does not hold its punches when it comes to vocabulary. On the one hand, being magniloquent is great for learning vocabulary and having an elegant feel to the game. On the other hand, what do you want me to bring you again? Azogue? Azogue. Oh, okay, Mercury. What is Mercury in Spanish? Then why not just say Mercury? Look, I don't really want this game to be simple. This kind of language is what I signed up for when I decided to play this game. However, context is half the battle when trying to understand something, so the more confused I get, the more confused I'm going to get. So the use of these old school terms really doesn't help. Still though, the fact that there are images does help. I might not know what these words mean, but I can see the sprite and still know what he wants. Furthermore, because this game is, well, a game, the context was already there. Years of gaming has actually helped me learn Spanish. Because red is health and blue is magic, or fever, same thing, even if I don't fully understand something from the start, I'll be able to figure it out with the game's tutorial illustration, something that I'd normally overlook, or by playing the game to figure out what something does. Los Rizos? I think it heals. So it has something to do with health, but I don't know what it does specifically. I just know that it has something to do with health. Validate quien lo lleva. So the health of who carries it. Lo something in soup. It's either more health, heal health. It's a health thing. I don't. Here. Let's see if we can, like, measure this. So I am... So at about, yeah. Health bar's there. Yeah. More permanent health. Yep, there it is. This is the tutorial on how to parry, and even though I don't know what the word realizar or manobrar means, at least not as direct translations, but I know you're supposed to block and then attack because that's how parry works in almost every game. There was one time in this game that truly upset me, and there was no way I would be able to know what the game is trying to tell me. Look at this. Accelerates, the use of pelegares. What does that mean? I wouldn't know because in the menu they call it rezos. How am I supposed to know that these two things are related? I did end up switching to English text in the settings on a few occasions just to be sure I was correct in my assumptions for certain items, but if I hadn't cheated like this, I would have never figured this out. You see, in English, both of these words are prayers. I assume rezos is the verb and plegarias is a noun, but the fact that they're not even similar at all... I know this game isn't trying to be useful for language learning, and it really shouldn't be, but man, I just think when talking about a game mechanic and having one thing affect another, it should use the same word. This was probably the only part of the game that upset me. The fact that it uses very complicated words is confusing, but that was kind of the point. This specifically just seems dumb. Serious, why didn't you fucking use the same word? The combat, aside from understanding its tutorials, was a breeze. Or it's one of those easy to learn, hard to master games. However, there was one question that I kept asking myself during my playthrough. I'm just not even sure where to go. Wait, where do I go? Where do I go? Actually, legitimately, where do I go? I can't even go that way. So I can't go this way, can't go here. There's nothing here. Where the fuck do I go? The map has a lot of connecting pathways and secret doors, which is fun to explore, but easy to get lost in. This is a staple of Metroidvanias, but because I'm terrible with names, including the names of locations, the only thing I had to go off of was the map. On the map, you'll see these slightly lighter pixels that indicate a door, or there won't be a wall showing that there's an area you have not explored yet. However, oftentimes this is pointless because these areas are blocked off or otherwise unreachable. I did have to use a walkthrough. You should never have to use a walkthrough for a game. It takes you out of immersion and also literally takes you out of the game, but with the game this mysterious and in a language I don't fully understand, I thought I needed it. Ironically, I ended up looking up how to get an item I was convinced I needed, and turns out you don't. I thought you needed the 3 gnarled tongues to finish the game, so I looked up how to get it. I was sure that you needed something that grows roots that you find all across the map. Turns out I already had what I actually needed, an item that drops from a boss. I was so lost on where to go and what was happening that not only did I fail to realize what I needed to do, but also what I was missing. This is 100% a skill issue on my part, but I'm not sure that even if I was playing in English, I'd be less lost. Let's look at how you're supposed to get this item. I know it's not necessary, but I think it's a good example of how confusing this game is. You have to get 3 items to bring to this egg, talk to this lady, and get the egg, or sorry, ovum, whatever, then bring it to another random spot on the map, and break the egg, bring that to the guy with the potassium saltpeter thingy. Now you have the 3 gnarled tongues and you can grow roots for some reason. The only hint you have are the item descriptions, some of which are really vague, and you still need to find the items in the first place. There's an item in this game that's important for the good ending that's description, and I quote, is devoid of purpose. Come on, bro. How am I supposed to understand this game if you're purposely withholding information? This game isn't linear in any way, which normally would be fine, but because I'm trying to learn and piece together this game's story, it's just more confusing than it needs to be. Here's what I know about the story. Spoilers ahead. So there's this guy / god called El Milagro, or the Miracle, and I think he's evil because his blessings aren't really good. The first blessing was a guy
who felt bad for some reason and turned into a tree that bleeds gold. Seems pretty bad to me. The Miracle seems to be the most important character, which must mean he's the villain because he keeps popping up. I mean, look at Chestface from earlier. His blessing from the Miracle was that face on his chest. Later on, it begins to kill him because the chest face becomes a chest man. Okay, what is Naciendo? It's being born! That's what Naciendo means? Borning? Ugh. I am almost positive that the Miracle is the main villain. To defeat the Miracle, which I think is the goal, you fight some bosses to eventually kill the Miracle himself. His Holiness Escobar? Sounds like the name of a god to me. After you defeat the Miracle, you go up some sort of snow and die. And then the green guy from the beginning of the game says that sin is sin or something and takes your helmet back to your previous bodies. Oh yeah, so you play as Penitente, right? And I swear they use Vosotros when talking to just you. So the only explanation I can think of is that he is a hive mind worm who eats blood and bile to heal. He can't speak because he's a worm, and there's no other explanation. Why else would they use Vosotros when referring to one person? A lot of this game's story is spread out, so exploring and talking to NPCs is where most of the story actually lies. Actually, the three-headed character from before is a perfect example of how I understood what was happening in this story. I know that the three sisters merged into one, and I know that one of the sisters, or maybe all three of them, had a fiancé or fiancées that they didn't want to marry or weren't happy with, so they ran away before the wedding or something like that. Something about a ritual not completing, and now she's cursed. This game has a lot of provocative iconography, and I don't know much about the holy era of Spain, but I don't think I need to be a Spanish historian to understand the symbolism of an unhappy spouse handing you a deformed ovum. Symbolizing like this is all over the game. It gives great ethos, a strong feeling that even if you are missing the finer details, like I was, makes an engaging experience. Which for a game that's spread out and complicated is a good thing. Also, the world is a dream or something. Maybe just that white place with the pilgrims or something. The word sueño is used a lot, and I know that means dream, so maybe this is like Link's Awakening style maybe, where the whole world is the Miracle's dream. I don't know. The word dream is everywhere, I swear. I'd like to actually know what was going on, so here's my friend, Not a Bandit, who actually played the game in English and knows what actually happened.
Alrighty, thank you to Green Man for inviting me to be a part of your video. New video about drinking on my channel, by the way. Sorry, didn't mean to take the thunder, but I'll try and keep this shit as brief as possible. So, to start off with, fucking the young boy, the dude, the fucking Jesus figure, put on the like 8 shit cross thing, that man is Escobar, the final boss of the game. Spoilers, by the way, try to fucking keep up. He prayed to the Miracle to be fucking punished, right? And finally, after a long time of fucking asking this eldritch, corrupt version of the Christian God for penance, his devotion and humbleness was answered, and he was turned into the new Messiah, the fucking twisted one. Again, Jesus figure, keep up, alright? You know, and then through various, you know, mechanics and things that you see throughout the fucking game, you start to realize Escobar is a tyrannical dickhead, fucking asshole, killing anyone who doesn't agree with him. This man has like the power of God, and he's a dick, alright? Bada bing, bada boom. Fucking many people think he's just fucking insane in the fucking head, alright? His mom, heartbroken by his fucking dickhead son, racked with guilt and sorrow, pray to the fucking Miracle for penance, right? Just like your son, fucking full circle, keep up, alright? Once again, the fucking Miracle was like, damn shit, I got you with this ungodly eldritch curse. And then he turned her into a fucking statue with a big ass sword through her called the Mea Culpa. Hell yeah, fucking awesome, badass sword. And then you, the penitent one, grabbed the fucking sword to slay Escobar, alright? But the fact that she was turned into this statue, this fucking statue thing, severed the connection with the fucking Miracle, right? So, because she prayed for the fucking penance, Escobar was fucking imprisoned, alright? And all of his followers got turned into hideous fucking freaks. I'm talking average, obese, Walmart shopper, alright? These people were fucking insane. That's what, like, the hoppers and the fucking bosses, that's what these fucking people are. They're these, like, fucking corrupted versions of Escobar's followers. Bada bing, bada boom. Or the miracle just stopped talking to him because he was just a fucking asshole after giving the blessing. Then the fucking miracle left the land of Custodia, by the way. Failed to mention that. That's the name of the place you're in. Keep up. And then after that, everybody got really sad because fucking damn, the miracle, God's gone. Shit, if God was gone, I'd be fucking depressed too. God damn. And then the execution of Escobar, that's why you got the mea culpa in the first place, was tasked to, god damn, it's hot in this room, that's why I'm sweating, Brotherhood of the Silent Sorrow. Boom. And then Escobar found out about this shit. Boom. So he wanted to genocide him on. Boom. And that's why the first boss is the fucking warden of the genocidal, prison camp that he's fucking killing all the Brotherhood of the Silent Steel with. And that's why you fight him, and you just smashed all those people, and you, the one person, the sole survivor, wake up, grab the mea culpa, and are designed to kill fucking Escobar, right? And now you also have to destroy all the statues of guilt and burden yourself with the guilt of the land to get the good ending. Because you need to take on the guilt and slay Escobar. Bada bing, bada boom, you're the new Messiah. Blasphemous story over. A bit convoluted. Subscribe to me and a green man, please.
Yeah, I was a little off. Remember that spiel about Vosotros at the beginning of the video? Turns out that yes, you do only use Vosotros for plural. That makes a lot more sense than the main character being a worm. My bad. To be fair, I got confused because the character is called Penitente, but the group he's from are called like the Penitentes or some bullshit. Like, imagine you're playing as Michael Jackson, but everyone just calls you Jackson for short. And you're a member of the band Jackson 5, with 4 other members also named Jackson. So when this guy shows up using Vosotros from earlier, and he says, "Use guys the Jacksons," I didn't realize he was talking about Jackson 5, the band. I thought he was talking to just me, Mr. Jackson, in the plural. Which is why I thought Michael Jackson was a worm. Why I thought Penitente was a worm. You know what? This example's more confusing than I made it out to be. Hey, future editing to Green Man here. Turns out that is also still wrong. There wasn't actually any time during the game where they referred to you as, like, use guys or use brothers of the Silent Sorrows. They don't say the name of the location when referring to you, at least not that I can remember. Turns out you could just use Vosotros in the singular if that person represents people, but that's also maybe just like an old use of Vosotros. I still don't know. I'm gonna keep that Michael Jackson bit in, even though it's not correct, just because I think it's funny. Yeah. Bye-bye. Whatever. Real quick, just for any Spanish viewers, if there were a hive mind creature or person, would you use Vosotros? I gotta know. I do think my Spanish has improved from this game overall. I certainly know how Vosotros works now, I think. I know that I haven't said a lot of Spanish in this video, so let me give you my final thoughts in Spanish. Las mejores partes de este juego son también las peores partes. Tiene un mapa largo y interconectado, cual es divertido para explorar, pero es muy fácil para perderse. Tiene un cuento profundo y interesante, pero también es difícil entenderlo. El combate, bueno, es bien, no tengo nada que decir, bien hecho. Lo que sé que este juego tiene éxito, incluso que si hay problemas con esa forma. Mucha exploración y mucho retroceder. La historia está escrita muy bien, pero no te da dirección. Ya sé que esto es la punta, pero a veces me harta. Por último, doy este videojuego un 8 sobre 10 como un juego y 5 sobre 10 como un resource para aprender español. Bye bye.